Mr. Parks, as we viewed your film last night, at certain spots throughout the evening, it was almost like a Western where, you know, there are the good guys and the bad guys, and you're cheering and clapping and so forth. Only in this case, it was, instead of them wearing black hats and white hats, it was black faces and white faces, and there was cheering for both camps at one time or another. Had you anticipated this sort of reaction?
No, not really. In fact, I was surprised when I got applause during the show itself. I never quite heard that before, and I've shown it around several places, but I never expected to get applause actually during the performance. But I think it's the honesty of the film that brings that about.
So that's the only thing that you could attribute this reaction to, and these were primarily press people.
I know it's a very tough bunch to show any film to, because you get rather nervous because they've seen everything and their reactions are very tough ones. You know.
This is, of course, your first motion picture as a producer and director, and you wrote it and you wrote the music for it, and it's the first time a black man has had a major film with a major studio. What sort of an extra responsibility, Mr. Parks, did this place upon you?
Well, whether I want to believe it or not, it does place a responsibility. They say many people can say, well, at last in the history of this great motion picture industry, a black man was allowed to do this thing called directing and producing. But not only that, he was given more leeway than probably any director in Hollywood has ever been given, and especially on a first film. Even on a 100th film, very few directors are given the freedom and given the opportunity to do so many things as I was. So there is a responsibility. If it had been a bad film, they could have said, well, we gave him a chance and he flopped. And there's a lot of hopes for a lot of black boys, Puerto Rican boys, other boys in the minority groups could have all been dashed on the rocks. But now, I think because of the success of the film, I think it'll allow other black boys to at least aspire to become directors, producers, and so forth.
Mr. Park, we're just about out of time, but in the remaining few seconds, what would you most like the viewing public to know about The Learning Tree?
That is an honest and a beautiful film, and that it will promote understanding between everyone, every race, I hope.
Thank you very much for talking with us, Mr. Gordon Parks.